to The Witch's Cauldron. My name is Paula. Today's video is on charms, talismans, and amulets, and is part of my Wicca 201 course. Handouts for this are down in the description box. It's a link to a Google Doc, and I also have in that, if you are following along the Wicca 201 course and you bought the book for it, then there's also, like, in the handout, there's also homework for you to follow along if you want to improve your magical practice and become more adept. So a lot of people use the terms charm, amulet, and talisman interchangeably, but there are actually subtle differences between the three. Okay, charms are for good luck or bringing good luck to you. Amulets are used for protection, to protect you from danger. And talismans are used to bring a particular benefit or increase the power of whatever you're doing. Okay, bring power to the owner of that talisman. Okay, so let's talk about charms first, or lucky charms. Charm, actually, our English version comes from the French version of charme, and that's C-H-A-R-M-E down here. And that means incantation or spell. And charms were originally spoken or sung, okay? But eventually people wanted something that was more permanent or more tangible than just the spoken word, okay? They also, you know, you give special significance to certain things, okay? And originally it was like religious icons, like something that was attributed to, say, Jesus, or attributed to a particular saint. You know, if it had the bone of a saint, or, you know, the hair of a saint, or even, you know, said to be a splinter from Jesus's cross, okay? Something like that. But when you think about it, you know, we still use words today, you know, like charm, a lucky charm, or to say that someone is very charming. And it's that special little intangible someone who's very well spoken or has a certain charisma to them. They're charming. They have a certain je ne sais quoi, as the French would say, which is literally translated is I don't know what, but it's a certain something is what it really means, okay? So almost anything can be a lucky charm. It is something that means something special to you, okay? Like a lucky penny, your lucky socks, your lucky interview tie, your lucky suit, something like that. A lot of people even use like medals of saints, like St. Christopher. It's very common for people to put a St. Christopher's medal in their car. That is, St. Christopher is the patron saint of travelers, among other things. But it's to bring you good luck, not only with your vehicle, but good luck in avoiding, you know, jerky drivers. But it can also be an amulet to protect everyone in that car from danger while they're traveling, okay? So one of the most commonly held lucky charms is the four-leaf clover, okay? And there is an old Irish rhyme that go along with finding a four-leaf clover. It is: one leaf is for fame, one is for wealth, one is for a faithful lover, and one to bring you glorious health. Are all in the four-leafed clover, okay? That's the little rhyme. It's in the handout. So you stop and also, think about the Christian church, okay? The symbol of the fish has come to represent the Christian church, okay? And that's widely attributed to Jesus feeding the masses, okay? And the Greek representation of a fish is called the ichthys, and I'll put that down here below. And the ichthys was actually originally an old pagan fertility talisman. But it was adopted by the Christian church, and the Greek ichthys came to represent or be the first letters, the letters that comprise ichthys, come to represent Jesus Christ, Son of God, our Savior. The Ankh is another symbol that brings luck to people, and that is an ancient Egyptian symbol, and it is often referred to as the cross of life, and it not only provides you good luck, but it wards off disease, so it's both an amulet and a charm. Now, it's also with the modern popularity of like the Pandora bracelet. Charm bracelets are another way that people, have something that means something very special to them. It can be associated with, a trip, the birth of a child, a life milestone, something that means something very deep to the wearer. That can be, a lucky charm. And then finally, some people have collections of things. Like some people collect buttons or medals as lucky charms, okay? And a charm can literally be just about anything. And your charms do not have to be visible. It can be under your clothing, it can be in your pocket, it can be in your wallet, it can be, carried with you, but it doesn't, or even put in your vehicle, like I said. So it doesn't have to be something that people see for it to bring you good luck. Now, an amulet. Amulets, as I said, are for protection, and they've been wearing them for thousands and thousands of years, okay? You have to stop and think that, early people did not understand the why of things. Today we have modern science that tell us how disease works. That, we have modern technology, but for earlier civilizations, things were very mystical because they didn't know the scientific explanation for why things were. So they very, very commonly used amulets to protect their home, protect their families, protect their livestock, and especially to protect from like natural occurrences, like things that frighten them, like, bad storms or uncontrolled wildfires or disease or famine or, any number of things that were unexplainable and frightening to earlier man. Now, some people, and even to this day, some civilizations believe in something that is called the evil eye. And this is where somebody can give you harm by just looking at you, giving you the evil eye. Even in animals, some traditions hold that even an animal can give you the evil eye. There are clay tablets that exist that documented and describe the damage that an evil eye can do. And the Sumerian god Ea spent most of his time fighting the evil eye. So it was very common for people to carry amulets to ward off the evil eye. And a lot of the evil eye comes from um, even common things, common practices. It is believed to come out of a state of jealousy. Okay, so even, someone complimenting your baby that they're so beautiful, if a lot of parents will say, and, God bless my child. When someone tells them that they have a beautiful child, and the parent would say, and, may God bless them. So that's to ward off any jealousy that is affiliated with you having such a beautiful child, or having, a very hale and hearty child. It's anything that can be considered a threat that comes out of a position of jealousy. Now, it's very, very common in Strega, which is the hereditary practice of Italian witchcraft. And that the evil eye figures prominently, and warding off the evil eye figures prominently. Now, what is really kind of funny, things that are people now commonly attribute to, like, metalheads and heavy metal music, okay? This is actually called the Maloik, and it was popularized by none other than Ronnie James Dio. And Ronnie James was the lead vocalist for heavy metal bands such as Rainbow, Black Sabbath, Dio, and Heaven and Hell. And he often would tell people that he picked this up from his grandmother, because his grandmother would do the sign of the Maloik, or Malocchio in Italian, to ward off the evil eye. She would go like that, and that would ward off the evil eye. But now, doing this and headbanging is commonly affiliated with the heavy metal or rock scene. Okay, but this is actually the Maloik to ward off the evil eye in Strega. So you also see people that wear various religious medals, like Saint Florian is the patron saint of firefighters. And they wear that either as, a necklace, or have a tattoo. It's very common for tattoos. People in public safety, soldiers, sailors, things like that, often have tattoos that are affiliated with a sense of protection. I have one. I have a triquetra. I'm not going to show it because it's in a place where I would have to, like, pull up and pull down some clothing for you to see. So, others are police officers and soldiers, commonly have St. Michael tattoos. Sailors have St. Christopher tattoos, because he's the patron saint of sailors and travelers. So they're all very, very powerful amulets of protection. Also, a lot of people believe that braided or macrame bracelets, the knots, tying of knots are often believed to catch evil spirits. So, like in my own kitchen, I have aprons hanging in my kitchen, and I have knots tied into the apron strings. Okay, now I don't use aprons very often when I'm cooking. When I use them is like in candle making or soap making, because it involves really messy, kind of caustic stuff. But I always have those aprons in there, and knots protect your kitchen, And it wards off any kind of, ill, either in, bringing to my kitchen, in my kitchen witchery, or the food that I prepare. Okay, it's a protection symbol for my kitchen, which is basically the heart of my home. And it's really kind of funny because, my mom and my grandmothers were the same way. They had knots tied into their apron strings, and I never really knew why until I started practicing Southern Conjure. And I found out why they did that. Southern Conjure that I practice is particular to the Appalachian Mountains in the United States, but Conjure is also practiced in the Deep South. And it is a type of American folk magic or hoodoo magic. It is not the voodoo that is also very prominent in states like Louisiana. Okay. Now, talismans provide power or energy. Okay. They are often made at times that are astrologically, and think back to our planetary and zodiac correspondences that I did with astrological influences in your magic, or times that are spiritually significant to you. They can be stone, they can be a metal, they can even be a piece of parchment paper. It can be something that you make. Okay. Now, some talismans come from like a predatory animal, like a shark, a bear claw. You would see like bear or eagle feathers. Think of some of the Native American traditions with the feathers in their headdresses, with, a bear claw in as or a talisman for a warrior. And they believed that it gave that owner the power of that animal. Okay. You can also think about what some people call, like ball players call their lucky shoes or their lucky cat. But it's actually kind of like a talisman and a charm, because they believe that it gave them the power that they needed to make that home run, to, score that goal, to make that touchdown. So one of the most famous talismans is the six-pointed star, and the upward pointing triangle symbolizes fire, the sky or air, and male energy. The downward pointing triangle symbolizes water, earth, and female energy. Okay, it's also called the Star of David, and it represents the nation of Israel and the Jewish faith. It's also commonly referred to as the Seal of Solomon, because it is believed that King Solomon also used that symbol, but it does predate King Solomon. Okay, because it is the Star of David, and David was before Solomon. Now, a lot of people incorporate gemstones into talismans, charms, and amulets. And you can refer back to the Crystals and Gemstones video for more correspondences on this. And this tradition dates back literally thousands of years, and even soldiers during the Crusades carried stones with like runes carved into them, or sigils, symbols of protection. Some of them carried bloodstone, because bloodstone is ruled by Mars, the god of war. Okay, and it made them believe that would make them brave in battle and protect them from harm. So it was both a talisman and an amulet. Okay, it was an amulet to protect and talisman to give them the power to be more powerful and effective in battle. So wearing jewelry is one of the most common ways to incorporate charms, talismans, and amulets into your everyday life. Okay. And it also makes it a very kind of visible but subtle way for you to wear a charm, talisman, or amulet without, open ridicule, because with our logical modern mind, most people don't believe in the existence of magic, even though we know better. Now, the easiest way to choose like a piece of jewelry or a stone, a crystal, for whatever intent you want to set, be it a charm, amulet, or talisman, is to see what calls to you. Just like in the crystals and gemstones video, is there a piece of jewelry? Do you walk into a store and you look through the jewelry? Does your eye immediately go to something? If you're shopping online and you're scrolling through things, does something immediately catch your attention? Or if you're in the store and you see something that calls to you, ask to hold it to see what vibe it gives to you. And doing that is called psychometry. What kind of feeling does it give you when you hold it in your hand? You can also use numerology to figure out what you want to do, what kind of stone you could use that is particular to you. Now you take your date of birth, okay? And then you use numerology to reduce that down to a single digit, or at what is called a master number. The two master numbers are 11 and 22. Okay, and let's say somebody is born October 11th, 1946. Okay, so 10 October, the date, the 11th, and 1946. You add those up. 10 plus 11 plus 1,946 is 1,967. So then you break 1967 down into 1 plus 9 plus 6 plus 7. That equals 23. So you break that down even further into 2 plus 3 equals 5. So the numerology number affiliated with October 11th, 1946 is 5. Okay? Let's take someone that's born August the 11th, 1974. Okay? August is 8 plus the date, 11, plus 1974. 8 plus 11 plus 1,974 is 1,993. Okay. 1993 is 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 3. And that equals 22. You stop right there because that is a master number. Okay. Then each number relates to a color of stone. Okay. So let's say yours reduces down to 1. That's red. Red stones usually are related to passion, enthusiasm, energy, and drive. So that could be a ruby, a garnet, red jasper, something like that. Then number 2 is affiliated with orange. And orange stones relate to close relationships and personal satisfaction. So that could be citrine, some types of citrine, carnelian, and orange sapphires. Yellow. Yellow stones are, number 3 is yellow. And yellow stones relate to expressing, fun and the joyful things in life, joyful aspects in life. And this could be yellow beryl or the yellow topaz, not the blue topaz, or even white topaz. So number 4 is green. And green stones relate to like hard work and accomplishment, like emerald, peridot, green tourmaline. Tourmaline comes in multiple colors though. The number 5 is blue. Okay, so that person that was born October 11th, 1946, they may want to pick a blue stone as their talisman, amulet, or charm. And that is blue stones enhance clarity and perception and aid in goal setting. So this would be like lapis lazuli, sapphires, and even blue tourmalines. The number 6 is indigo, and they relate to caring for others. So this would be like sodalite or iolite. Number 7 is violet, and they relate to spiritual truth and the higher consciousness. And this would be like amethyst, the light garnets, and purple rubies. The color number 8 is affiliated with pink. And pink stones are stimulating and energizing, okay? They enable progress. This would be like the rubellite, tourmaline, rose beryl, and rose quartzes. 9 is clear, okay? Clear stones are pure energy. They are nurturing and loving and successful. So that would be clear quartz and diamonds. Now, the number 11, which is one of those master numbers, is affiliated with silver, okay? Silver stones are peaceful and gentle, but they also hold a lot of power and enormous potential. So hematite is actually considered to be a silver stone, and you can also use sterling silver metal, okay? Gold is affiliated with the number 22, and that is also a master number. My birth date is a master number, and it is 22, okay? And that is why I wear a whole bunch of gold. And this is for aiming high, that achieving that success and knowing no limits. Okay, so this would be like pyrite, pyrite sun, which is sunstone, I believe, and tiger's eyes. Okay, so now you can make your own talisman or amulet. You can make it. You don't have to buy another stone. You don't have to buy a piece of jewelry. Now, what I do, I have made a lot of talismans, charms, and amulets over the years. And I keep a supply of what is called Sculpey clay. It is a type of clay that you don't have to fire or dry in a kiln. It air dries, okay? And it gives you a lot of time to work with before it hardens, all right? And it's very common to find, you know, in art supplies. So I figure out what kind of shape that I want. What are there sigils or something that I want to inscribe in the clay? Okay, like a rune or something like that. What color of clay do I want to use? Then what I do is put herbs and essential oil, like a drop or two of an essential oil that corresponds with the intent that I want to set, herbs that I want to set, and even can crush up a small gemstone and put dust from a gemstone or embed a small gemstone into the surface of it. And then I work the clay, okay? Thinking about the intent in everything that I want this thing that I'm creating, talisman, amulet, or charm, to bring, okay? This energy that you put into creating this, your personal energy imbued in it, gives it even more power, okay? And more power and protection. After you've like kneaded the clay and put it into the shape, then you inscribe it. You can, like I said, inlay those gemstone, a small gemstone. You can press in a whole herb in it. So here is one that I made many, many years ago. This is like my power symbol on my altar. And here it is. You can see on this one, it's got a Trinity knot. The Trinity knot means a lot to me. Maiden Mother Crone, Wild One Father Sage, birth, death, rebirth. So it means a lot to different people, okay? The other side has a willow leaf incorporated to it, and the willow means something very special to me. And this is a power symbol that I keep on my altar at all times, other than me showing it to you right here. So handmade items in general for your magical practice have even more power to them because you're imbuing your energy into them when you make them. All right, now it's time. Let's say you've gone and you've bought a piece of jewelry, okay, or a stone. Charms, you don't want to cleanse because they're lucky charms. They're lucky already. You just want to, imbue them with luck and let them do what they need to do, okay? But talismans and amulets are a little bit different, okay, because you're buying a stone. You found a stone. You're buying a piece of jewelry. You don't know who has picked it up. And so you have to cleanse and consecrate your talismans and your amulets, okay? So, there are a myriad of ways to cleanse something, by smoke, putting it in sage and lavender, water, blah, 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 blah. I went through all of that in the gemstones and crystals for cleansing and consecrating. There are various ways. Then just with like you do with crystals and gemstones, with talismans and amulets, you have to set the intent. So I do have a consecration ritual that I use just for feeding the intent of the talisman or the amulet. It can be as simple or as complicated as you want. Talismans and amulets, because I want them to protect. I want to give them power. I spend time consecrating them. I don't just sit there like this. Although you can do that, and that's perfectly fine. To me, the more time and thought I give to putting that power into it, especially for protection, and protecting my better half that's a law enforcement officer. I spent a lot of time with that one. So you can make them as complicated or as simple as you want. Then after I do that, you do the feeding part of it, setting that intent, holding it, feeding that energy into it. I do it for 7 days in a row for a talisman or an amulet, okay? I sit there, I imbue it, I have the same incantation that I made up for it in that consecration ritual. I say that, hold it, and put it on my altar, and do this for 7 days, okay? So also the power of my altar feeds it. Now, every once in a while, I go back and I recharge my talismans and my amulets. I feed it some more energy, okay? Now, nothing is going to work if you don't believe in it. So the biggest thing you have to remember is to believe in what the intent is that you are setting for that talisman, amulet, or charm. If you believe it, you will receive it, okay? Now, how can you amp it up, okay? Talismans and amulets should be created or consecrated during the waxing moon. In other words, you want to draw that energy into that talisman or that amulet. Check your daily correspondences, okay? Make sure, check your planetary positions. make sure that, let's say, the gemstone's ruling planet, make sure it's not in retrograde, okay, when you do this. Make sure that Mercury's not in retrograde, because Mercury just does all kinds of crazy stuff to your magic, okay? You don't want to do an amulet or a talisman when Mercury's in retrograde, because it can really go wonky. And you don't want to do it when the moon is void, of course, traveling in between the zodiac signs, okay, in its transit. You can also amp it up by anointing it with essential oils. Like I said, this talisman here has herbs, gemstones, and essential oils incorporated in it. It has sigils, you know, inscribed in it, and it has an herb pressed into it, okay? So you can layer all those types of correspondences and magics to make really powerful talismans and amulets. Really easy. You know, and I'll show you some of mine. I actually have a charm necklace. I have a charm bracelet upstairs, but I also have a charm necklace. I have the charm necklace itself is a claddagh, and that means something to me for, you know, love, loyalty, and friendship. I have a St. Florian Maltese cross right here. Because I was with the fire department for I had a 31-year career in the fire department. St. Michael, because in the fire department I retired as a fire marshal and I was sworn law enforcement. I have a cross that actually my parents bought for my sister when she graduated from high school. When she converted to Judaism, she gave me this when I graduated from high school, so she passed it to me. It's got a lot of family significance to it. I have my triquetra, which is my symbol of power for me. And I also have a fleur-de-lis, which is very significant. It's part of my family. And I have a Black Hills Gold little tiny heart on here, you know, as a symbol of love in our relationship. So, and then I also have St. Michael's cross, Celtic cross, for, you know, general protection, because I'm also a paranormal investigator. So it helps me ward off the ooga boogas. So there we have it, folks. That's it for talismans and amulets. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and please subscribe before you leave. I would appreciate that. And you know what I always say, merry we did meet, merry we will part, until we merry meet again. Be well and walk in love and light, everybody. Bye.